This is going to be our quick video on installing this Kirin adapter kit. This converts your Kirin from shooting the shells that are included in the Kirin to using a normal half dart magazine with a adapter. We have the tools that we need here, some lube in case your internals are dirty or dry. Using some fresh lube can help. We're going to need a medium-sized Phillips screwdriver. This is a number 2 drive, but you want one pointy so that way you have full contact on the screws. Then the kit itself should come with your hex key. This is a 1.5mm hex key for your set screws to hold the core in case it's a little loose. Those help increase your retention. And of course you have your O-rings for the pusher tip and the pusher itself. So we're going to dismantle the Kirin real quick by removing the takedown pins. There's 3 of them, 2 long and a short. The Kirin will come apart. We're gonna slide the plunger tube out, get to this. We can remove the shell ejector because we don't need that anymore. There's that piece. Then we're gonna access the bolt. Now we're gonna disassemble the bolt with these 2 screws here. Okay, we'll set those screws aside. We're gonna reinstall these later. Then we can slide out the bolt. We see that we're gonna have to get the shell extractor out of the way so that way it can slide. So I'm gonna rotate it so that the extractor is lined up to the bottom here. So I'm gonna kind of pull it apart like that and rotate the center. There we go. So now the extractor is outside of the bolt rim. Then I'm going to then slide the rest of this apart. I'm going to remove this pin to get the extractor out. So I'm just going to push it from the other side. There we go. Then we can remove the bolt. Just like that. Then we got the handle. And then we've got this thing. Oh, and then we have another O-ring there to seal on the plunger tube. We're gonna remove the O-rings from the old bolt. Just gonna use my little hex key to get underneath those and pull those off. We have 1, 2. We can set this aside. We no longer need this. Then I'm going to reassemble it with my pusher adapter. So I'm going to install the pusher core onto the base. If it's tight, you're gonna carefully wiggle it and push it in. If it's really tight, you can heat up the base depending on the tolerances of the print and the core. If it's loose, you could wrap it in Teflon tape. I'm gonna push it down nice and straight. You wanna make sure you push it straight. If you bend it at an angle, you could risk bending the core or breaking your print. Push it straight down. Okay, it's all the way in there. You'll know it's all the way in when you have this little lip sticking out, a little more than 1/8 an inch. Then we're going to make sure the core is firmly installed by putting in these set screws, which will then bite into the core. So you'll start to feel it biting into the core, then stop. You want to over tighten these. Could risk stripping the print. So I feel it tightening right there. I feel it kind of give some resistance. Then we'll put an O-ring. You could use 2 O-rings for better air seal on the tip. Then we'll install our old O-rings onto the base. And then we have this seal piece onto the base of that. Okay. Then I'm going to reinstall the pusher assembly into the plunger tube. Slide it all the way to the top. Then I can test the air seal here by plugging this end with my hand and blowing into the top. If I feel air leaking in between here, it might be that my O-rings are too loose or I don't have a good air seal. pretty good there. If they are too loose for whatever reason, maybe your print came out too small, you can wrap some Teflon tape around the O-rings. And if it's really tight, that's okay, because this is a stationary air seal. It doesn't actually have to move in and out anywhere. So if the O-rings are extra tight, that is okay. Then I'm going to reinstall the priming handle. Just like that. And if it's a tight fit, again, depending on the print, you could take a small file. Oops, popped out that air seal there. You could take a small file and you could file down the lip so that way the charging handle fits. And then you can reinstall that in the bolt. Note the orientation of the half cutouts here. They need to line up to the holes in the bolt for the screws to attach, and I can pull the bolt forward and I can line up, there go the holes there. Reinstall my screws. There we go. Then you can test the air seal once more. Nice and solid. Then what I like to do is reinstall the plunger, and I want the hook to be facing up. Then I'm gonna reinstall all of this, and I'm gonna get the hook into this middle of the spring guide there. You can see the little rectangle cut out. And then I'm gonna prime it all the way back to prime the blaster. Locked in place, nice and solid. Then now I'm gonna just lubricate the pusher O-rings such that I can get the air seal in my barrel. And then I'm going to slide the two halves together. Oop, didn't line it up. There we go. Then reinstall the pins. Then I'm going to test to make sure that my pusher seats into the barrel by, while holding it back, I'm gonna pull a trigger to deprime it. And I can see that it does fully protrude into the barrel there, back and forward. I can see it cycles fine. Then I'm gonna put in my adapter, which should be good to go. Make sure that fits, locks in. I can still remove it, feels good. I'm going to prime it back, install my mag. And then if it is a little tight, depending on your mag, because how the prints come out and depending on the worker with injection molding, as the molds wear out, the mags can get tighter or smaller depending on how old the mold is in the injection molded factory. And so you may want to file the inside of your mag well a little bit if it's too tight, but it is designed to be a friction fit, so you do pull it out. So I like mine tighter. If you like yours looser, you can adjust that. But then we just want to make sure that with it fully seated, not seated too high up or all the way down, you can kind of feel where the detent grabs the mag. You can then see that if I push a dart forward, it'll move one from the mag into the barrel. I'm good to go. There's an O-ring in the barrel that is designed to seal against the shell that we no longer need. So we can remove that by using a long hex key, a screwdriver, or you could take the two halves apart, as when you originally received it, you've got the 3 screws there to move. But since I've got this long skinny guy, I'm gonna do that. I'm actually gonna use the hex key here, just so I don't have to remove more screws than I need to. There you go. We don't need this O-ring because it's not sealing against the shell anymore. And if we leave that in, then the pusher and the darts could get snagged on it, end up either destroying that O-ring or otherwise losing the O-ring. And that is how you install the adapter. Here is our Kirin. This is going to be the angled mag adapter kit. Slightly different than the straight Talon adapter for the Kirin. This one is very similar though, as far as you've got a core in the breech and then you've got the bolt and stuff that goes on. So like everything is pretty much exactly the same. The only difference is the parts. Obviously there's a lot more parts here. That's just because they give you a swappable bolt as well as a guide for the top of the dart. But it's assembled pretty simply, so we're gonna just take apart the blaster by taking out the 3 takedown pins and then sliding that bolt out with this new bolt here. So we'll take this pusher core, slide it all the way into the base. Then we're gonna take these grub screws and install one in either side. And of course, these smaller O-rings go on the tip and the larger O-rings go on the base. I'm gonna slide that into the plunger tube. It is a little dirty, just gonna lubricate that. Nice tight fit, that is okay. It's gonna seal nice and well, but it's nice and tight. Push that all the way in. I'm gonna pull it out from the other side. All the way, so it bottoms out. Then we're gonna put our new handle on. And we're gonna put our new bolt sled on that. And this is designed where these screws just go through in that cutout slot. Pretty much exact same as the straight adapter kit. Now the thing that's different though is going to be this adapter. They have this breech gate here to help the feeding of the dart. So that's going to go into the front half of the keyring. So I'm just going to reinstall the back half. And I'm going to line up the notch in the back of the plunger rod with the slot in the spring guide. There's the rear half. Then for the front half, I can remove the shell ejector from the side, that piece there. And then I'm gonna flip it over and I'm going to install this gate. Unscrew the front handguard. We've got the O-ring for the shells. The dart guide can go into the dart gate. Push that in, just like that. Then we'll put the handguard back on. We can install this O-ring so you don't lose it, but that's not necessary. That just helps seals against the barrel. And while I'm here, I'm just gonna do a drop of lube on the pusher O-ring to help it seal against that dart gate and insert the dart guide. Then reinstall the two halves. Go. Reinstall the takedown pins. And we can install our adapter. We may want to file it to make sure that the magazine fits smoothly in and out. There we go. So that locks in on the bottom there, and the magazine will go in on top of that. Then you will of course want to make sure that your O-ring seals in the pusher breech, so you may need to file that as well. But I'm going to file now the inside of this dart gate so that the O-ring fits. This one's too tight. Here's a round file, so I'm going to file the inside of this. Smooth out the inside and keep spinning it until it fits around my pusher O-ring. Oh, there you go. And I'll reinstall that dart gate. Then we can see that it does open and close. Adapter, lock it in. Mag. A little tight, but there we go. Two Gen 3 darts here. slide that in. Too far. There. There you go. There is the Kirin angled adapter kit installation. Kit by Shellington Blasters, printed and I believe designed by him. There you go.